Ava sat at the edge of the command center, her gaze locked on the holographic star map sprawling before her. The stars blinked back silently, indifferent to the turmoil they hosted. Commander Zhao, Lieutenant Harrow interrupted her reverie. The Council's decision has been broadcast galaxy-wide. Earth is officially out. Ava's fingers clenched into fists. And our response, Lieutenant? Public sentiment is leaning towards retaliation. They're scared, angry. They want action. Ava nodded slowly. Gather the team. It's time we discuss our own course. The command room filled quickly, a mix of human and alien faces, each marked by the same resolve that had been festering since the banishment. Ava stood, her voice firm. We've been isolated, sanctioned, and discarded by the Galactic Council. They expect us to crumble, to beg for re-entry into their precious coalition. But we are not just survivors. We are pioneers. We will not grovel. We will build. Dr. Alara Myvan, a Viridian scientist whose people had also felt the Council's disdain, spoke up. What you're suggesting will paint a target on every one of our backs. We'd be defying not just the Council but every civilization that stands with them. Correct, Ava replied, her tone unyielding. We'll be defying them to maintain our sovereignty, to claim our place in the cosmos not as outlaws but as leaders. We will form our own alliance, Earth's Enclave, and we will show the galaxy that our unity is our strength. Murmurs of agreement echoed around the room, mixed with the palpable tension of the uncertain path ahead. Captain James Ortega, once a celebrated pilot of the Council's fleet, added, We'll need resources. Allies. We can't wage a war, but we can certainly prepare for one. Ava turned to face him. Exactly. We start with the Zaltharian sector. They're resource-rich, and importantly, they owe me a favor. It's time to cash that in. The team's hacker, a sprightly Talmoran named Silex, chimed in with a grin. And I assume we're not just going to knock and ask nicely? What's the plan for sneaking past Council patrols? Ava's lips curled into a rare smile. We'll use their own surveillance against them. Silex, I want you and Dr. Myvan to work on a cloaking device that mimics the energy signature of a Council ship. We go as ghosts in their midst. The days that followed were a blur of activity. Ava watched as alliances were forged in shadows, as black market deals secured the necessary parts for their cloaking device, and as her once diplomatic speeches turned into rallying cries of a burgeoning rebellion. Then came the day of the mission. The air in the command center was electric with tense anticipation. Ava stood beside Silex at the helm, her eyes fixed on the forward screen as the stars of the Zaltharian sector came into view. Cloaking device is holding steady, Silex reported, his hands flying over the console. Energy signature matches the Council's last patrol ship. Ava nodded, her focus unwavering. Keep us on this heading. Any deviation could expose us. As they approached the Zaltharian border, a transmission crackled through the comms. Unidentified vessel, you are entering restricted space. Identify yourself immediately. Ava leaned forward, pressing the transmit button. This is the GS Delphinus. Experiencing navigational difficulties. Requesting immediate assistance. The reply was terse, suspicious. Delphinus was not scheduled for patrol. Hold your position for escort. Ava exchanged a glance with Silex, who subtly adjusted their course. Creating a minor power fluctuation. It'll look like we're really having trouble, he whispered. Minutes stretched like hours until the escort arrived, two sleek Council ships, their hulls gleaming menacingly against the backdrop of the cosmos. Follow our lead to the docking bay, the lead ship commanded. Ava kept her composure as they were led through the heart of the Zaltharian sector, right where they needed to be. Once docked, she turned to her crew, her voice low and steady. This is where we prove ourselves. Secure the resources, find the Zaltharian leaders, and make our case. The operation was swift, a dance of shadows and whispers. Ava led the negotiations herself, presenting Earth's vision of an alliance built on mutual respect and shared prosperity. Hours later, they returned to the ship, their mission a success. The Zaltharians, wary of the Council's expanding control, had agreed to provide the resources Earth needed. Back aboard their ship, Ava looked out at the stars, their cold light somehow less daunting now. Set a course for home, Silex. Let's show the galaxy what Earth can do. As the ship hummed beneath her, Ava felt a weight lift from her shoulders. They had taken their first step towards something monumental. Earth, once a silent follower in the galaxy's chorus, would now sing its own defiant anthem. Ava paced the cramped meeting room, each step synchronized with the thrumming of the ship's engines. The air was thick with anticipation and the heavy scent of recycled oxygen, as her crew, a tapestry of human and alien faces, awaited her next orders. Their recent victory at Southaria had ignited a fire within them, but Ava knew the hardest challenges were yet to come. Team, Ava began, her voice steady, resonating with a quiet power that drew every eye. Southaria was just the beginning. We've secured our first ally and our first victory, but we must move quickly. Our next target is the Hydrian system. It's rich in tilium, the fuel that can power our fleet beyond anything the Council has. Murmurs of approval swept through the room, but Ava raised a hand for silence. It won't be easy. The Hydrians are isolationists and have remained neutral since the dawn of galactic politics. Convincing them to join us will require more than just strong words. We need to show them what's at stake. Captain Ortega, his brow furrowed in thought, leaned forward. And if diplomacy fails? Are we prepared to escalate? Ava met his gaze squarely. We'll do what we must, but every action from here on out must strengthen our position. We can't afford reckless moves. Diplomacy first, force only as a last resort. Dr. Myvan interjected, her voice calm yet assertive. What if we shared our cloaking technology? Showing them what we've achieved could make a compelling argument for our technological prowess and our willingness to share knowledge. An excellent point, Ilara, Ava replied, noting the nods of agreement around the room. We'll offer it as a gesture of goodwill. I want proposals on my desk by 600 hours tomorrow on how we can further entice them without giving away too much. The meeting disbanded, leaving Ava to her thoughts. She turned to her communications officer, a young but exceptionally sharp Talmoran named Kivan. Set up a secure channel to the Hydrian leaders. I'll speak to them myself first thing in the morning. The night was long, spent in preparation and strategic planning. When dawn broke over the horizon of the nearest planet, casting a soft glow through the viewport, Ava was ready. The communication screen flickered to life, revealing the stern, lined face of Chancellor Pyron of Hydria. Commander Zhao, he greeted, his voice cool. This is an unexpected honor. To what do we owe the pleasure? Ava didn't miss a beat. Chancellor, I speak for a new alliance forming in the shadows of the Council's light. We seek to offer you a place among us, not just as allies, but as equals. We bring technology and a vision for a future where no system is left to fend for itself. Pyron's eyes narrowed slightly. And what do you want from us? Only what you can spare, and your support. In return, we offer protection, shared resources, and access to our cloaking technology. Ava explained, her tone sincere but firm. The Chancellor was silent for a moment, his gaze assessing. Finally, he nodded slowly. I will consider your proposal, Commander. Hydria has long valued its independence, but perhaps it is time to reconsider our stance. Thank you, Chancellor. I believe this is the beginning of a beneficial relationship for both our people. Ava responded, a trace of relief in her voice. As the screen went dark, Ava turned to face her crew, a faint smile playing on her lips. Prepare for a journey to Hydria. We have a Chancellor to impress. The journey was tense, the entire crew aware of the stakes. As they approached Hydria, Ava reviewed the details of their proposal, each word carefully chosen to persuade, to offer hope. Upon arrival, they were escorted to the planetary capital, a sprawling city that glittered with advanced technology and towering structures. The meeting with Chancellor Pyron was set in a grand hall, where Ava and her team presented their case with precision. We do not just offer you technology or aid, Chancellor, Ava concluded, her gaze locked with Pyron's. We offer you a voice in a galaxy where the Council would see you silenced. Join us, and let us reshape the future together. Chancellor Pyron, moved by the passion and sincerity of Ava's words, stood. His voice echoed in the silent hall. Hydria has always stood alone. But perhaps the time has come to stand together. We will join Earth's enclave. Cheers broke out among Ava's crew, their relief and joy palpable. But Ava herself felt a deeper satisfaction. This was more than a political victory. It was a validation of her belief in the power of unity and shared purpose. As they returned to their ship, spirits high and minds buzzing with the possibilities of their growing alliance, Ava looked out at the stars. They no longer seemed so cold or distant. With each new ally, with each success, they were lighting a path to a new empire, an empire built not on conquest, but on cooperation. Back aboard their vessel, the mood was celebratory, but Ava knew there was still much to do. The Council would not ignore their growing power, and she needed to be ready. But for now, they had earned a moment of peace. Let's set a course for the next system, Ava ordered, her voice steady and more confident than ever. We have more allies to gather, more minds to change. And we will not stop until the galaxy sees us not as rebels, but as leaders. As the ship sailed through the cosmos, its engines humming a song of defiance and hope, Ava felt a deep, unshakable conviction in their cause. The galaxy was vast, but so was their resolve. Earth's enclave would no longer lurk in the shadows. They would shine bright, a beacon for all who sought freedom from the Council's tyranny. With the new alliances bolstering Earth's enclave, Ava sat in the strategic meeting room, the digital maps glowing under the soft lights. Her team, vibrant with the energy of recent successes, gathered around, their faces a mix of determination and the weight of responsibility. All right, team, Ava began, her voice cutting through the quiet chatter. Our union with Hydria was a critical win, but our next move is crucial. The Council is rattled. They know we're not just a fleeting rebellion. It's time to secure our position. Captain Ortega leaned forward, his hands clasped tightly. We've intercepted transmissions from the Council. They're planning a summit to discuss the Earth problem. It's going to be heavily guarded, but it's also an opportunity. A murmur of interest circled the room. Ava nodded thoughtfully. An opportunity is exactly what it is. We strike now, during their summit, we could effectively disrupt their command structure. Dr. Myvan raised an eyebrow. You're suggesting a direct assault? That's a significant escalation. Not an assault, Ava clarified. A demonstration. We use their summit as a stage to broadcast our message, not just to the Council, but to the entire galaxy. We show them that Earth's enclave isn't a mere rebel group but a legitimate power. Silex, tapping away at his console, chimed in. I can hack their security feeds, take over their communications systems. It'll give us a galaxy-wide audience. Ava smiled slightly at his enthusiasm. Exactly. And while we have the galaxy's attention, we offer them an alternative to the Council's rule. We need to be seen as liberators, not conquerors. The team's energy shifted, a blend of anxiety and excitement filling the room as the plan took shape. Ortega nodded slowly. We'll need a diversion, something to draw their security away from the main control room. I have just the thing, Ava said. A small team will feign an attack on their outer defenses. It'll be enough to cause a stir, pull their forces out of position. As the details were hammered out, each member of Ava's team took on their role with a solemn nod, understanding the stakes were higher than ever. The day of the summit arrived quickly. Ava watched from the shadows as the galaxy's leaders gathered, unaware of the storm that was about to break over them. Silex, positioned in a covert ship orbiting the station, was the first to move, seamlessly breaching the Council's cybersecurity. Feeds are ours. Silex's voice crackled over the comm. You're up, Commander. Taking a deep breath, Ava stepped into view of the cameras, her image now being broadcast across thousands of systems. Leaders of the galaxy, she began, her voice calm but powerful. You have been told that Earth's enclave is a threat to peace. But we are not the architects of war. We are the harbingers of change. As she spoke, images of the enclave's efforts, their aid to struggling systems, their technological advancements, were displayed behind her. We offer a new path, one of cooperation and progress. Join us, and together, we can build a galaxy that thrives on unity, not division. Back at the summit, chaos ensued as the diversion team, led by Captain Ortega, initiated their feint. The station's security scrambled, allowing Ava's message to penetrate deeper, sowing seeds of doubt among many. The Council's leaders, caught off guard but quick to recover, attempted to shut down the broadcast. But Silex kept them at bay, every countermeasure anticipated and countered. Ava continued undeterred. This is not an invasion. This is an invitation. Stand with us or stand aside. But know this, the future belongs to all of us. As her speech concluded, the feed cut off, her words hanging in the space between the stars. The diversion team withdrew expertly, leaving no casualties but a lasting impact. In the aftermath, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Some condemned Ava's bold tactics, but more were inspired, their spirits lifted by the possibility of change. Alliances formed quietly in the background, systems reaching out to Earth's enclave, intrigued by the promise of a new order. Ava sat back in her chair aboard her flagship, the weight of her actions settling around her. We've done more than broadcast a message today, she told her team. We've ignited a spark. Now we fan the flames. Ortega, standing by her side, nodded. The Council will retaliate. They will, Ava agreed. And we'll be ready. Our networks are growing, our resources are expanding, and our resolve is unshakable. This is just the beginning. As the Enclave prepared for the inevitable counterstrike, Ava looked out at the stars, her determination reflected in her eyes. The galaxy was watching, and Earth's Enclave was ready to lead, to show that in unity there was not just strength, but hope. This act of defiance, this broadcast, would be remembered as the moment Earth declared itself not just a survivor of banishment, but a leader of a new era. For Ava and her team, it was a declaration of their readiness to fight for a galaxy that embraced all its inhabitants, a beacon of hope that would shine across the universe, challenging the old ways and promising a dawn of new beginnings. After the bold declaration during the Council's summit, Ava stood on the bridge of her flagship, feeling the weight of the galaxy's eyes upon her. News of Earth's enclave and their manifesto had spread like wildfire, sparking debates, support, and dissent across countless systems. The next steps were critical, and Ava knew the path ahead was fraught with both opportunity and peril. We need to consolidate our gains, Ava said, addressing her top advisors gathered around the central console, their faces lit by the soft glow of the display screens. The message we send has opened doors, but it's also painted a target on our backs. Dr. Maiva nodded, her eyes scanning the latest intelligence reports. Several systems have expressed interest in joining the Enclave. They're attracted by our promise of a shared future. However, the Council is rallying its loyalists. They're preparing a counter-narrative and possibly military action. Ava's gaze hardened. We need to be strategic. Every move from now on must reinforce our position as a viable alternative to the Council. We can't afford a drawn-out conflict. Captain Ortega, who had been reviewing star maps, chimed in. There are a few strategic systems that, if aligned with us, could provide both resources and geopolitical advantages. If we can secure alliances there, it could dissuade others from siding with the Council out of fear. Set up meetings with their leaders, Ava instructed. I want to offer them a partnership, not just protection. We're building a coalition, not an empire. As the plans were set in motion, Ava turned her attention to the broader strategy. Her communications team worked tirelessly, broadcasting updates and positive stories about the Enclave's efforts to provide aid and technological support to its new members. This was a war of narratives as much as it was about fleets and firepower. The days were long, filled with negotiations, planning, and constant vigilance. Ava rarely left the command center, her presence a steady beacon for her crew as they navigated this new reality. During a rare quiet moment, Ava received a secure communication from a familiar face, Chancellor Pyron of Hydria, his expression grave. Commander Zhao, we've intercepted encrypted transmissions. The Council is mustering a fleet. They're coming for you, for all of us. Ava's response was calm, collected. Thank you, Chancellor. We anticipated they might resort to force. We'll be ready. The Enclave's response was swift. Ava deployed her fleets not to engage in open battle but to defend key positions and to show force, a deterrent rather than an aggressor. Meanwhile, she intensified her diplomatic efforts, reaching out to systems still on the fence, offering them a role in shaping a new galactic order. Her efforts bore fruit sooner than expected. One by one, systems began to declare their allegiance to the Enclave, swayed by Ava's vision and the tangible benefits of alliance. The tide was turning. But with every success the threat grew. The Council's fleet loomed near, a dark shadow on the edge of Enclave space. Ava convened her advisors once more, knowing that the coming days would perhaps be the most crucial yet. The Council's fleet is stationed near the Torvin system, reported Ortega, his eyes locked on the star map. It's a standoff. They're waiting to see if more will join us before they make their move. Ava considered this, her mind racing through scenarios. We'll send emissaries to Torvin. If we can sway them to our side, it will show the Council and the galaxy that their time is over. We win Torvin, we gain the upper hand. The mission to Torvin was a blend of diplomacy and a show of strength. Ava herself led the delegation, her ship arriving in Torvin space with the full escort of the Enclave's fleet, a clear sign of the commitment and strength the Enclave offered. The negotiations were tense, the stakes palpable in every exchanged word and glance. But as Ava laid out her vision for the future, her passion, sincerity, and the evidence of her successes swayed the Torvin leaders. When the agreement was signed, it was not just a victory for Earth's Enclave but a signal to the entire galaxy. As news of Torvin joining the Enclave spread, the Council's position weakened. Systems that had hesitated now came forward, choosing to join Ava's coalition. With a growing coalition and the Council's fleet still hesitating at Torvin's borders, Ava addressed the galaxy once more. Her image was broadcast from the heart of Enclave space, her voice resolute, her message clear. Today, we stand united, not just as a collection of systems, but as a new vision for the galaxy. We have shown that together, we can build something greater than the sum of our parts. The Council may linger, but its days of unchallenged power are over. Join us, and together, let's create a galaxy where every system, every planet, every individual can thrive. The broadcast resonated across space, a beacon of hope and change. In the following days, the Council's fleet withdrew, their resolve crumbling as former loyalists turned to the Enclave, drawn by the promise of a new beginning. As Ava watched the stars from her command deck, she knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges. But for the first time in a long while, she felt a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. The Enclave was no longer just a dream or a rebellion. It was a new reality, a testament to what humanity and unity could achieve against the odds.